All right, we're live. Just wanted to check. Well, before we start, I've got a little letter that came in. I'm going to read it for you because today is such a special episode. Come in. Every night you enter me like a criminal. You break into my brain, but you're no ordinary criminal. You put your feet up, pop a Pepsi, you start to party. You turn up my stereo. Songs that I've never heard, but I move anyway. You get me crazy. I say do it. I don't care what, just do it. Jam me, jack me, push me, pull me. Talk hard.
Five, four, three.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy podcast. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and always with me, my hetero life mate, Oh My Feelings. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, buddy.
What is the Reel McCoy, you might ask? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go and watch a movie. You watch it, come back to us, and we break it down and we shake it all around. Today, special movie, special guest. Pump up the volume with StoneColdLoki. How are you doing, good sir?
I'm doing great, man. Who made that intro? Which one of you guys made that intro?
I did.
Dude, that is absolutely fantastic. I love doing stuff like that. When I see something like that, I can't help but smile. And I'm sitting here, I'm watching the intro, I'm like smiling, I'm going, dude, who made this? You did the absolutely wonderful job, man. Kick-ass job.
Thank you. I want something to pump me up for the show.
Yeah.
And I so wanted to start with Good Morning Vietnam or Good Morning Valhalla, but I think you do it much better than me.
Dude, that absolutely wonderful intro. I love seeing stuff like that. Their creativity and the music was great, and it yeah, dude, it gets you pumped up. You're like, yeah, let's rock and roll. Let's do a recording. Let's do it live.
Let's do it. Let's do it live. All right, so pump up the volume. I've watched this thing with my wife this week once and another time just to get things sorted in my mind that everything is all right. Feelings? I know you're a busy man. How many times have you managed to watch it this week?
Only twice.
Only twice. Okay, that's
And once of those was on a plane, right?
well, that's good. Loki, have you managed to watch it this week?
Yeah, I watched it twice too.
Cool. All right, cool. Let's say hello to everybody on the chat. Usually our chat is a little bit settled down. So we'll call out Paul Harley, our great and magnificent mod, which we don't say thank you enough because he's the man. Anyway, let's just start the show. We start, as we always start, with diving deep into the murky waters with Behind the Screens.
Action take 2.
Behind the Screen is where we go to all my feelings, get the lowdown on everything, behind the scenes, production stuff, everything. Take it away, sir.
So what's interesting is, first and foremost, it's impossible to find what the budget was for this film.
I have it.
You do? Because I couldn't find it anywhere.
Yes, I have it. It's deep down. It was $8 million.
Okay, well, I know it was 11.5 million gross. Big box office failure. There's a reason why. We'll get to it.
Yep.
The writer and director Allan Moyle really retired from directing after his film. Such a sad story. Times Square is everything behind that production. We'll have to review that movie some point in time, Meph, because that movie just want to talk about a fucked up production schedule. What happened to that movie behind the screens it's wild what happened to it. But essentially, his film got taken from him during production, got re-edited to remove pretty much the vast majority of the things that he wanted to be added in there, and then it had a completely different ending. So he was done with the process of directing. He just wanted to screenwrite and then just sell product. That's all he wanted to do. But then producer Sandy Stern came to him after reading his initial script of Pump Up the Volume and was really interested in it and bringing it to I'm forgetting the lower studio, but the big studio, big distribution was New Line
Studio.
It was New Line Cinema.
Spyglass, sorry. Spyglass,
Yeah.
I think.
But so Moyle said, well, I'm fine with actually going through the project, but I have to insist on actually casting the characters myself.
Okay.
Which he did. He got rights to do this. So initially, he actually wanted John Cusack to play the role of Mark.
Yep.
But Cusack turned down the role as he didn't want to be typecast, because this is just after Say Anything. He didn't want to be another teen idol, essentially. Yeah. And it's because especially at that point in time, the teen dramas and everything were really falling off after John Hughes' big success. His big boom in the 80s.
Yeah, and it's the tail end of the Rat Pack and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, the Brat Pack, not the
Rat Pack. Sorry, the Rat Pack is
not the Rat Pack.
Like, the earlier
trust me,
version,
it's a very, very, very late. That's a very long
sorry.
comment if it's the tail end of the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
So Christian Slater actually met with Sandy Stern and Moyle, and they both agreed to cast him because, in Moyle's own words, he fit his interpretation of what Mark should be as Harry Hardon. Mm-hmm. He should be this sort of like just Lenny Bruce tied with Holden Caulfield. This marriage of just these two unique character dichotomies embodied in this one person. Now, the school in the film was actually based on the school that Moyle's older sister worked at.
In Montreal.
Yes.
Yeah. Along with the principal that was colluding with the staff,
yeah,
about like kicking out these immigrants and all that stuff.
Well, that and a lot of underachieving students in order to keep grade rates up. Yeah. which that was a real big initiative in Canada in the mid to late 80s, and then also was actually really big in the States throughout the 90s. It was all about testing scores.
I've got a story about that later.
Yeah. So what's really funny is Slater actually became physically ill multiple times on set because they would have to do constant reshoots of him smoking, and this was before they actually had the fake cigarettes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought Slater was a big smoker. I didn't know. Okay.
Well, he became a big smoker.
Oh.
I wonder why.
Okay.
Yes. So, speaking of Mr. Slater, Slater convinced Moyle to bring on Samantha Mathis for a meet. Because at the time, he and Samantha Mathis were dating.
Yeah, they were a thing back in the day. They were a big thing in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. What I find so odd is right after this, she ended up dating her other future co-star, John Leguizamo.
Okay.
The Super Mario Brothers film.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's interesting is that Moyle and the previous producer we mentioned, Sandy Stern, met with Samantha Mathis and cast her after they had one meeting with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she literally came to the casting director straight off a plane. She came back from backpacking through Western Europe.
Yeah.
Which I found funny when I read because friends. But yeah. Never mind.
Yes. That I agree with this sentiment. The R rating is typically seen as what really killed this film in the box office. Because had this been a PG-13 rated film, it could have actually reached its target demographic in a much more successful manner. And I think this movie would have been right up there with like Slackers. And eventually, Moyle's really not known for producing a lot of very popular but cult classics like Empire Records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I wanted John Cusack to come over to do this. Maybe casted. If I'm not mistaken, John Cusack was in Empire Records.
Mm-mm.
No,
No,
I need to check. No, okay, I'll check. Don't keep going.
Ellen Green was specifically cast as Jan Emerson because Allan Moyle loved Little Shop of Horror so much.
Oh, okay. Maybe he wanted to cast her for that voice, but got a different voice.
Oh no, he just loved her acting. That's all.
You don't see her. You don't see her in that many films. So
No.
yeah,
no.
No.
Allan Moyle actually asked George Lucas to not only possibly come on as a consultant or even help produce the film due to his love of American Graffiti. That he absolutely adored that film. But Lucas, even though he had interest, was so obsessed with his it's going to be a string in his career, a bunch of films that are really terrible, but they did okay.
I mean, he did Radioland Murders.
That's
and it crashed and burned.
Yeah, that's what the film that he skipped over trying to produce it, to keep working on Reel Murders because he was so obsessed with it. Yeah, that.
Anything else? Because I've got a few other things here.
I have stuff, but it's more talking about specific scenes.
All right. Let me mention a few things. You mentioned Allan Green. The movie before she did this movie was actually called Talk Radio. She played the ex-wife of the guy, of the DJ guy.
Yep.
The shot itself is not in Arizona; it's actually in Santa Clara, California.
Yep.
And the post office was there until about 2020-ish, and then it was tore down. And there's a where I wrote it down. God damn it! There's a Supercuts where the post office is. The mall is still there. It's a strip mall, but there's a Supercuts instead of the post office.
That would have been better if it would have been a parking lot or a Starbucks. Now
there is a Starbucks there. The song everybody knows, Leonard Cohen. Moyle was in love with it because his wife was the one doing the mixing for the song on the record.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It you know how hard that was to find? It was weird. It was an interview that they did in 2020, a Zoom thing that they did. And one thing, and the rest of them are inside the movie, is the movie is not streaming on any platform. You can't get it on any platform. No Fubu, no nothing, right?
Yes,
and
it
not
is.
Wait. There's one place that has it online, which is the Internet Archive. The Wayback Machine has a copy of it. The problem is when New Line Cinema was absorbed into Warner Brothers, they didn't sign specific rights for internet distribution, which was even back then that type of deal. It's still not resolved. So you can't have it on Netflix. You can't have it on Amazon. You can't have it anywhere.
It's on HBO Max.
Really?
Max now. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
so the
it is
information...
in the United States. Don't know how it is in Israel because
it's different in every region. Yeah.
Got something thrown in your private chat. You can watch it there too. I wouldn't obviously put that in your.
Well, no. No. I know other places where you can watch it, but you don't need a link for it. But
Yarr.
Yarr.
That was
right.
I never thought we would have that on Blu-ray. I don't want to like mess you guys up or
no, it's fine. Go ahead.
As soon as I found out Warner Brothers had this coming out and like we're pulling it from the vault and we're putting it on Blu-ray, I had to have it. It was one of those movies I was like, no, I've got to buy it. I've got to pre-order it. I don't usually do any of that pre-order, pre-buy, anything. But I had the DVD for forever. I think I boosted the original VHS copy I had from Blockbuster and just never took it back. But I had the DVD and I loved the DVD. But as soon as the Blu-ray came out, as soon as they let it out of the vault, the Warner Brothers vault, I was like, no, I've got to buy it. I've got to have it.
Yeah, it's a special one. I don't buy DVDs because I don't have any DVD machine or a Blu-ray machine in the house, so it's not really an issue. But yeah, it's one of those things where I could probably never get unless we either sail the high seas or have some sort of a legit way of watching it, because I can't really have any DVDs in the house. It's not that I don't want to. It's just that it's going to accumulate. If I start with one, it's going to accumulate and it's going to be bad for my marriage. That's what I'm saying.
That's yeah. We just moved into a new house. I've got a theater room, and I had to get 3 different shelves. They've got 3 sections apiece, so that's 9 sections of shelves. It holds 450 movies apiece. They're full. Man, that's how many DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks and box sets we moved from the old place over here is enough to fill up 900 spaces on a.
Sounds like a Tom shelf.
Yeah, it is
very,
a Tom shelf.
Very much so, yeah.
All right. Before we dive in, I actually want to start with our first game of the night, just to get it out of the way and just jump into the stuff, because I've got plenty of things that is around this movie to share that I was kind of pumped for. So, first game of the night, it is Missing Marquee. Missing Marquee
Meth,
for
things that you are pumped for.
I'm pumped. Missing Marquee for Loki and the uninitiated in the chat is we take 10 posters of movies have their text written off. We display them, and Loki will have to guess which movie this is. And of course, chat participation is most welcome. Here we go. Thank you. Share screen. Thank you.
No.
No, I need to share the screen. Damn it. Here we go.
The Firm.
The Firm.
Oh, dude, it's the Alien movie.
This movie is so much fun too.
It's
Evolution.
Evolution is correct.
Okay. Oh, I should know this. It's because that's Toddy Watiki.
Yeah.
Or whatever his name is.
Scarlett
Rabbit.
Johansson.
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit is correct.
I have no clue. What the hell is
Oh my
that?
god, this movie's so good. Oh,
We covered it a few weeks back.
should I
I
just
have
say
no
it?
idea.
Don't say it. We've got a lively
Oh,
chat
the
here.
chat-
Let's
the chat will get it. Because this
let's
one's
give him
this
some
is actually
time.
really easy because it's the name is in it. Yeah,
Yep.
Paul's got it. Yeah.
Sideways.
Paul's got it. Paul, our resident guy. Yes, it is Sideways.
Starman.
Starman is
Okay.
correct.
Oh wait, no, that's a different one.
No, it's a different one.
Oh man, I recognize it, but I can't think of the name.
This
I
movie
need-
is famous for the line, "I'm ready for my close-up,
What's
Mr.
up,
DeMille."
Mr. DeMille.
God, I should know it. I should know the name of the stupid movie.
I need to have the old doo, 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 doo. I don't have it on. I don't have it on my
Jeopardy
soundboard.
thing. Don't say the old.
It's the old. Here we go.
Sunset
Lex
Boulevard.
has got it. It is
Thank you.
Sunset Boulevard.
Yep. I should have known that. Boondock Saints.
Boondock Saints is correct.
If you're a fan of the movie, like you know what it is.
Golden Child.
The Golden Child.
Oh, dude. Oh,
This movie is so fun too.
Yes.
I know the name of this. Oh,
I didn't watch it when it came out. I saw it like 4 years later. I think this one's 2012, 2011.
There were a lot of people pretend they are with ladies, Loki.
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. Something. It was guys.
Yes.
Nice Guys.
The
Yep.
Nice
Nice
Guys
Guys.
is correct.
Oh, that's that horrible movie with George Clooney that didn't
This-
make any money that they said was going to be great. Yeah, I don't need.
This
They based
one,
off-
Dreamland,
this is based off
Future
the
World,
the
Future
Disney-
Land.
it
Disney.
is very close to what you said.
Yeah. I
This
never.
move-
Yeah, I think I got 10 minutes into it. And was
It
like,
is not Tomorrow World, Paul. It's very close.
Tomorrowland.
Tomorrowland is
Tomorrowland.
correct.
Okay.
And that was
Okay.
the last one. Get off. There we go.
I missed two. Hopefully
Don't
I
worry
did
about
well.
it. You did quite well, my friend. Quite well. All right, cool. So pump up the volume.
This is the first time that Paul did a flub.
Hey,
What's
you
going on,
You gotta
buddy?
give him something. The man's here. The man is here week after week.
I
Helping
know.
our
I just gotta
guests.
mess with him. I gotta mess with him.
Yeah. All right, cool. One thing before we kind of start, pump up the volume to me. I watched it not when it came out because too young, and I don't think it had a massive international release. I did watch it on cable at around 1991, maybe 1992. I was about 12-ish, and it didn't seem like it was for me. I watched it. It was interesting. And suddenly I see these boobies on screen and immediately I'm glued in, even though it's quite at the far end of the movie. And I was like, oh, let me watch this thing again because I need to be attentive, right? There's no recording of VCR. Well, I did have a VCR recording back then, but I didn't record that specific movie. So when I did record it and watch it again, I watched it again and again and again, not for the tits, for the actual story. Now,
Everybody knows
for
when
exactly
I
for that
saw
exactly
you.
for that song,
Yeah.
one of the things, and
Well,
all my
can I
feelings can
just-
attest to this.
A quick pause, just to interjection right there. Leonard Cohen, I'm sorry, he will only remind me of David Lynch films. That's
Really?
yeah,
Why David Lynch films?
Because he's in literally almost every single one of their soundtracks.
Okay. Anyway, that song everybody knows was that song when I started to take, let's say I streamed every once in a while on Twitch, didn't take it too much seriously, didn't have anybody watching. Well, I never had anybody watching, but I didn't really care. But there was a situation where I could literally stream from work. I had a job, and I still have that job where I could do the job itself, and then I have a little office and a like 720p camera and a small little button mic, and I just streamed games just for fun, and whoever joined. And this was Twitch before they brought down the super ban hammer on the copyrighted music. Yeah. So I started every single stream with Everybody Knows, because I love the way you just open a show with that kind of a powerful song. And it came from Pump Up the Volume. It was just that thing that got Mr. Oh My Feelings and me talking about music.
Yep.
Which turned out to talk about games and then talk about other things. And I give full credit to me being inspired by this, to having a long-lasting friendship with Mr. Oh My Feelings. Mm-hmm. So being pumped to do this movie is a understatement. It's super special to me. So
audience, if you want to blame anybody, blame Mr. Leonard Cohen and Pump Up the Volume.
Yeah, exactly.
For this cavalcade of fuckery that is.
Make sure you talk hard. Yeah.
Yes.
Talk hard. Talk hard. So Loki, when did you watch this for the very first time, if you remember?
It was okay. So, funnily enough, my dad was a teacher. He retired. He used to fly jets for the Navy, and he retired out of that after his 20 and became a teacher. It's like glutton for punishment. He just had to have that. And somebody had told him to check this out, so we rented it as soon as it came out, and obviously we sit down and watched it. And I was maybe 10 years old. The song got me. And so getting to watch this at 10, I got to watch all kinds of fun stuff when I was a kid. I don't know why. I got to see Aliens when I was like 8 years old. I got to see all the good movies. But I remember watching it, and then I remember catching it on cable later. And eventually I did exactly what you did. I recorded it. I VHS recorded, threw in a VHS tape, recorded it, and watch it every once in a while. And I loved it. And you get it on DVD, and you look for it on Blu-ray, find out Warner Brothers won't put it out on Blu-ray because they got a giant stick up their butt, until finally they go, yeah, we're gonna let it out of the vault and we'll give it to you on a Blu-ray. I probably watch it once a year, if not more. So,
and was it the thing that inspired you to do what you do? Not necessarily stream, but do the type of thing that you do on the morning show? Because go ahead.
Okay. It's definitely one of them. The Adrian Cronauer thing, and Good Morning Vietnam, and this. Definitely I'll say what I'm going to say, and I'm not going to blink. I'm not going to be afraid to say what I'm going to say, or go back on it. Or if I don't like something, I'm going to tell you I don't like it. If I feel a certain way about something, I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. I'm not going to play any games about it. I don't think he did either. This character in this movie, Mark, didn't do that. It's almost like the Batman thing with Bruce Wayne. Okay, Mark is not really Mark. Mark is Harry. Mark is happy Harry-eyed on. That's who he is. Mark is the mask he wears when he's out in public. That's his Bruce Wayne mask. What he really is he really is Harry-eyed on. That's him. He's just a little shy and a little hard to come out of his shell, and he's got some anxiety, and a lot of people today can totally relate to that. So
yeah. So Loki, in so many ways, I think it's apropos to make that comparison that you just made to Tarantino's Bill's criticism of Superman. And Superman is Superman uses Clark Kent as his mask, but it's
Yes.
how Clark Kent actually views the world around him, how humans are fragile, they're meek, they're almost pathetic in their own right. In so many ways, that's how the dichotomy between Mark and Harry is.
Yeah, and his dad in the movie, his dad kind of comments here and there about, why don't you go out? Why don't you hang out with some people? Why don't you meet some people? He is meeting people. You just have no idea how he's doing it.
Yeah.
And for us today, that's so relatable. It's so relatable to be like, well, we go out, we go to the store, we do this, but we're considered these wild, crazy. Loki's an animal. Mephistoe, man, he's burning it down every Saturday on his show, and you just go out and you're in public. People have absolutely no idea who you are. They have no idea. Sometimes that's a really good thing.
Loki, it's funny that you said Batman, because I had the same thought. I usually don't pick out specific clothings for a show, but today,
Yeah.
specifically for that analogy, it's so funny the way some of us think about this character. And I said it a few months back. I have a show on Monday. What I do is it's called the Monday Watch Party. I just put on a movie on my end. I have a little timer that I put right here, and I just watch the thing. It's just like Twitch, but there's no Amazon Prime behind me. There's no people can follow wild because if they have an Amazon Prime thing, it's just that I watch it and I just enjoy myself. And if people join in, that's great. I watched this on screen and I was just all the time talking about the same idea. I kept repeating myself because I haven't watched it in a while, and it just suddenly clicked because I haven't watched it since I started doing this internet thing. So around 2016, 2017, I was like, this movie, this man today would be Mr. Metokur. He would be Gary from Nerdrotic. He would be StoneColdLoki. He would be take your pick of people that are, I don't know, slight controversial. You can talk about do you remember the boom in 2016, 2017 of a lot of these YouTubers that were super, super edgy and eventually got booted off? There's ton of them that I remember. Some of them are still on YouTube, but they've curbed back their, let's say, their edginess to conform with YouTube, but they're still on and they're still paying their mind. People like the Umbrella Guy, Yellow Flash, take your pick. And this character right here, and throughout the arc, if you take out the whole FCC is trying to shut you down, replace that with Google, Amazon, whatever, you can literally make a movie or not make a movie. You can literally experience it up today with all these different broadcasters that just speak their mind, and they have this following because they're authentic. Because when they switch that little thing and it's turned down and you eat that blackjack gum and you drink that wild cherry Diet Pepsi, it's them. It's their authentic self and not the mask. And when they go outside, when they leave through their door, it's their mundane, normie self.
Yeah, I've got some blackjack gum around here too.
I've never seen a blackjack gum. Nor have I seen a wild
Now,
cherry.
Correct
Diet
me
Pepsi.
if I'm wrong. Doesn't blackjack gum just taste like black licorice?
Yes.
Yeah, I would never eat that.
So that's why I'm really
disgusting.
confused, because I'm just like, why would you drink giant cherry Pepsi and chew blackjack gum? Ugh. I know smoking can dull your taste buds. I mean, but if you're just going for just like vomit fuel, come on.
To me, the whole movie kind of starts weird because it starts with this sort of graffiti style text, and then it turns into, oh, this is a bus with teens, and you get to see Luis Chavez getting pulled off by Murdoch. You get this teen girl, forgot her name, Cheryl, get pulled off by Murdoch, goes into the principal office, and then it actually starts with Hard Harry kind of describing his normal thing, and to me, I was instantly kind of dialed into what's going on because, oh, this guy's on a pirate radio. We'll leave the part of the shortwave radio doesn't do FM, but okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of technical inconsistencies in this
a
film.
little bit. And to be perfectly honest, I would attribute that to Allan Moyle's didn't go deep into, far deep into how radio works or how CB radio or AM FM work. He just loves the idea of a guy talking on a pirated station. He even, I think he took inspiration out of stations that were on like these oil rigs or oil platforms, something like that. And of course, once you get to see the show, they don't explain to you what's going on, but through the actions of the kids. So Mazzelli, that was standing there, that was in the car listening, talking to Seth Green and telling him sometimes he's there for 5 minutes, sometimes he's there for 5 hours. Who knows? All we know is that when the clock is ticking, he's there. We turn on the dial, we listen, and we get inspired.
Yeah.
Anything? No?
Oh no, absolutely. No, the opening in this movie is absolutely great. The way they set it up, and they go into Harry, and you're kind of like, what the hell is this? What the hell is going on? But once you key in on that, and you understand a little bit later with the kids why they're pulling them off the bus, why they are pulling them out of the classes, why they are almost segregating them from the rest of the class. It all started. So you want to watch it again. You're like, what did I miss the first time? What did I not catch? What did I miss this time? There's all kinds of little key details in there.
Yeah, they actually introduced Malcolm Kaiser in that bus, but it's sort of like, okay, it's a bus scene with some kids, and then they pull them off to the principal's office. Maybe they done some fucked up shit. We don't know. And then you get this crazy guy masturbating on the thing.
Yes.
And
we're going to talk about that.
Oh, please. I know there's a detail about it. Please tell us. Oh, my feelings.
So, well, first and foremost, I love the setup of it. When they're taking the kids off the bus just at the beginning, and they're taking to the principal's office and everything, because that seems like it would be there. There's obviously something that's set up where it's either they're trying to figure out who Harry is from the beginning, and they're thinking that, oh, well, maybe these people will know who he is, and we don't see them until it comes back to the whole bit about Cheryl later, and him with the note that he gets from his father's office. But until then, you just think that, oh, well, they're trying to figure out who this kid is, just doing this pirate radio thing. Got it. Okay. Not a big deal. You don't really get the insidious nature of what is being shown to you until later. But the whole masturbation bit it's so funny because Christian Slater and Harry Moyle actually got into a very, very verbose and pretty visceral verbal altercation on set about this entire scene.
Okay.
Because Moyle wanted to bring on a tap dance instructor.
Yes.
This is true.
Yes, that's true.
For Slater to do a tap dance routine during his manic dancing bit after the second masturbation scene. Which...
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew that Allan Moyle wanted to get a tap dancing choreographer to choreograph the masturbation scene plus the dance. I didn't know he okay. And Slater insisted on doing it like off the cuff because he wanted it to feel more authentic.
Well,
I would say.
Well, but he wanted to make it feel genuine because
yes,
why would it, Harry or Mark as the character do anything that would be this basically scripted and put upon? No, he's playing punk and he's playing hip hop. Like no, he wouldn't be tap dancing to it. He wouldn't be pulling a singing in the rain over here. Okay.
Yeah.
To me, that whole golf club
manic,
actually.
and also with that too, the entire bit of how we can see just the white people dancing.
Well, true. I love the fact that when he has that golf club and he's dancing, it kind of, I know it's a bit of a stretch, but it kind of reminded me of Freddie Mercury, because Freddie Mercury always had the microphone with
microphone,
the
yeah.
like
Yeah.
half
That's fair.
stand that he used to go crazy with on stage. I know it's a stretch, but it did kind of remind me of that, going like super crazy with that while talking, while acting a fool.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
So once the show ends, we get to see a little bit of Mark and his going around, sneaking around the house. You get to be introduced to his dad, exactly why they're in Arizona. You get to see on the first few minutes, why is he there? Why is he so upset? He came from New York, which is, the hustle and bustle of New York, and then going into suburbia in Arizona, kind of a way different, like, dial up of a frequency, as we say, but going from super New Yorker type guy, bigger, like big inner city stuff, and then going into this desert out of nowhere, and all the life is like going a little bit in terms of schedule, going down a bit, and it's more boring. There's nothing happening, and he longs for something to happen.
Well, also he's a high school kid. Think about this. You're in high school and you're moving. Everyone you know is at your old school. You've spent all this time meeting these people, having friends, building these relationships, and then you're gonna move in high school. That blows. He doesn't want to move. He wants to stay there.
Yeah.
Well, what I find actually kind of subversive in its own right is the almost condemnation that Moyle has written in the script for the parents' almost just near ambivalence toward their son. Because as it's shown, the fact that he is not wearing cans, he's not wearing headphones. So he's playing all of this music out loud. You would think it's a certain point in time they would have wandered down there to figure out what the hell is going on, especially since the initial broadcast starts at 10 p.m., right?
Yes.
And he is a high school student, so you would think, like, is this kind of Moyle's condemnation on how parents are ambivalent to their children, or it almost doing it in a way where it's almost neglect?
It actually kind of, to me, it's so weird because he wrote it in 89, and it feels like it's the parents of the 90s. There was like,
very much
there
so,
were like the 80s was like the latchkey kids, but the 90s were more the suburban parents that don't give a fuck anymore. At least that's the vibe I got from movies. Of course, that's how I know, because I've never actually been there. But the fact that Mark, by his parents, is being offered, well, why don't you go to a psychiatrist? And he lashes us out because he's 16, 17. They don't say he's senior year, but you kind of figure it out that he's at either junior or senior, somewhere in that middle. So he is on the cusp of being an adult, trying to act like an adult, but he's not really an adult yet. And all of the kids are as well. They're all acting like they're adults, but they're really, really not. And it's sort of the point where it's not gangster rap yet, but it is the early kind of late 80s, start of 90s rap as well.
Moving into like from Ice-T, from he did play one of the more graphic earlier Beastie Boys songs, as well, but no, the Ice-T track that's included in this is kind of like the introduction that's leading into like early 90s West Coast rap.
It's sort of that time in music where the metal was witch hunted. Now it's time for the rap to be witch hunted, and it's bad for kids, and it's super, like it's not allowed. So of course all the kids fucking love to listen to rap because the parents hate it, because that's how it works. Because if the parents hate it, that's the music I'm going to listen to.
Well, to be fair, that's how all of human society works. If an authoritarian figure tells you, well, you can't do this, you can't have this, well, now I want it more.
Yeah.
This is why prohibition didn't work. You dummies.
When Mark hits when there's that scene where his teacher reads Alan Green reads the poem, and she wants Mark to talk about it, but Mark is of course anxious and not really wanting to talk. But you can see that he's creative, not only when he does the show, also when he's outside. He's not a dumb guy. He's pretty smart, or at least creative enough. And you see this school trying to, getting those late boom boxes, not the big ones, the smaller ones where you can sneak into the school and listen to either the tape from last night or, in this case, Ice-T. And we get also introduced we get introduced to Nora and her friend. We get introduced to Paige, and how Paige, to me, represents the yuppies that are in the suburbs. So the dad is a super yuppie guy, so he expects the kid to go to Yale and that sort of thing.
But not characterization, just a perfect simulacrum of them is actually in this film, with the one white dude with the white sweater, the mullet that's pulled into a rat tail. It's like, you are the perfect early 90s yuppie.
Yes. And of course, we've got Nora, who's the eat me, beat me lady, who is obsessed. And she kind of, I think in the first broadcast, Hard Harry does say he goes to the school, right? I wasn't sure.
He just mentions the school. He never actually really says that he goes to that until he mentions that the fact that, like, well, I see you across the when he ends when Nora comes into the studio with him. Is like, well, I can't talk to you, and that whole bit where he goes on, that's where he actually really breaks down and says, like, I actually go to the school.
Yeah, and in this case, it's kind of telltale for us as, let's say, a more experienced audience. If you watched it as an adult back then, you would have caught on to the joke not joke, but the sort of telltale sign of, I'm checking out a Lenny Bruce book. It's his most famous book that he wrote. And she, just because of his demeanor, she kind of dismisses him because that's the mask. Like Loki said, it's like, nah, he's not extrovert enough. To her, she's looking for that extroverted kind of character, and she doesn't see it in Mark.
Well, he doesn't know how to handle what's happened. There's a lot of people that talk about anxiety today and anxiety issues, and here, take this and they'll help with your anxiety, or this is how you deal with this, or breathing exercise, or whatever it is your pocket cure for it is. He is in a alien place with people he does not know. He does not know how to get out of his shell, and the only thing he's got is that radio show. That's it. That's the only thing he has to be like, you know what? I'm me. He might have acted exactly like this at school. He might have wandered around with a golf club, laughing with people and holding it like a guitar and carrying on. But here he is in a completely alien environment with people he does not know, and he does not know where he stands. He has no idea what his order in this new place is. So he's just like, you know what? I'm just going to get through this. I'm going to get a book. I'm going to go and sit under a tree. I'm going to eat my lunch, read my book, drink my juice box, go home, do my radio show, and rock on till midnight, and then get up and do the same thing the next day without anyone being aware of what's actually going on.
Yeah, and when I compared Mark or Hard Harry into today's kind of modern, YouTube or Twitch or whatever streaming service, instead of a radio, one of the first things you get when you become something of a known streamer or a known live streamer is having trolls. And this is, to me, this was the first troll. He gets a letter. It seems very dark. He's got a number. He's calling the number. So like a call-in show. And he's like, immediately, he's like, oh, it's a fucking troll. I get it. He doesn't say a troll because, 1990s language, but it's the first troll. But then it actually becomes a little bit more serious because he reads that famous letter that I took my daughter's, my daughter's stationery to write to. And by the way, it is scented. It's girls. She's 12.
Nope. You already gone too far. Just stop it right there.
Right. So he reads the letter, but he's disappointed because he's into this chick. We already come into the middle of it, as we say. We don't see him start. We come to this movie like into the middle of his popularity, or where he's already a little bit established. So he's got like those fans that he know, or these chat members that he already knows, and he knows their shticks. One of them is the Eat Me Beat Me lady. And you would think, right? You would think if she had a chat, bubble, it would be the Eat Me Beat Me lady. Probably a mod as well. And of course, the sort of it's that first show where he's getting the troll, then the Eat Me Beat Me lady. It escalates into something more serious, and that's actually setting up. If we do it with like the normal 3 acts in a movie or in a play, this one is ending. The act 1 is this, the talk with Malcolm Kaiser. Now there's an issue with this a specific scene, and we'll discuss it because this one is the one where he calls in. Malcolm says, "I'm going to kill myself," and he doesn't give a reason per se, or we don't know he gets a reason. However, if you remember, there's a later scene after Malcolm takes his own life, after the whole school gets riled up because of this crazy DJ, of a scene where a guy calls him and talks to him and tells him, "Look, I messed around with some jock. Everybody knows I'm gay, blah, blah, blah. And we went to this lake or whatever. And him and his buddy took my clothes and they laughed at me and they made me do some stuff that I kind of regret." Everybody knows that scene and this scene. So they seem separate, correct? However, that scene, that extra scene or that extra call with the gay guy was supposed to be Malcolm Kaiser's story. However, when they test screen this particular actor that was on the stream just then, it didn't test correctly. There was an audience member. They did a Q&A after the screen test. They did a Q&A, and there was a guy that says, "Well, look, there's a problem with what you said with the scene. It's supposed to be like this, and this, because otherwise it wouldn't work." Allan Moyle and Stern, the producer, actually grabbed that guy from the audience, and he was the one talking to Christian Slater. He didn't actually talk to him on the phone, but they reshot that whole scene where it's the explanation for Malcolm Kaiser, but it's a different guy altogether.
I did not know that.
Yes, I did not know that until yesterday. It was like I said, it was an interview with the producers with something for the 30-year anniversary, and it just came up. And I didn't even know Malcolm Kaiser was supposed to be gay. I don't think he mentions it, but Allan Moyle talked about him as if he was gay, and then he kind of divulged that whole test screening thing. But
Yep. Well, I was going to bring that up, but you already beat me to the punch.
oh, sorry, I didn't know you had it.
No, you were already on a roll, buddy.
I'm sorry. It was such an obscure like reference to that in an interview that was 30 questions long. Was kind of odd. And I went back to that specific scene where he talked to the dude, the gay dude. And first of all, as a non-actor, he did great. I just didn't know, because it wasn't specified, if when you see the Christian Slater parts saying like, go on, keep talking, if it was originally shot with the guy playing Malcolm Kaiser. That I couldn't figure out. It could or couldn't have been. Maybe it's a reshoot. I don't know.
That could also explain why he didn't initially take it seriously whatsoever. He's like, oh, it's this guy, because, you know, the whole catching the girls messing with him before and the call-in phones, and he's, you know, oh, someone's going to troll me. Even though they didn't call it trolling back then. Oh, look, it's the same guy. Oh, so what's this now? So this happened now. So you're going to do this. So we've got another call, and you're going to do. That might explain why he talks to him the way he does too.
And when he talks to the gay teen later on, you see them cutting back to the people listening, right? When there's those radio parts, they always cut to the people. So when Mark brings up what's going on with Cheryl, because he stole his dad, kind of, you know, his dad is the supervisor, so he has all these correspondence, so he knows what's going on behind the scenes. And when he talks about Cheryl, it's like, oh, there's a girl talking to Cheryl. Cheryl, please turn on the radio. What station, please? That station. Oh, he's talking about this and that. So, and later on, you get to see Luis Chavez with everybody on that hill listening, because that's the best place to get reception, which is great for AM radio, but not FM, because FM you could get wherever. So we see those dejected people, those rejectees from the school kind of clamoring around, because this guy is talking about how the school fucked us, literally fucked us around. And of course, you want to know when you get fucked and you don't know where it's coming from, you want to know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And again, we always see the other side after Malcolm is, you know, after his suicide. Mark goes into the school, and the first thing he's looking at is Paige, and he wants to talk to Paige, but he can't, because last night he just talked about how I try to approach these girls, but when I get to them, I can't. The words are not coming out of my mouth. And we see it verbatim happening the day after. And to me, that's how us as viewers really relate to Mark, because that's why the school relates to Mark, because that's how all of us are in school. If you're not popular, or if you're not from the right clique, or you're not from the right crowd, so you understand how it goes. Mm-hmm.
No, I was
any thoughts?
No, I get that. I can see that point. Just
to be fair, to the detriment of Mark, he does mention the fact that he goes to a post office to get letters. Mm-hmm. And
yes, and I will say this too. Can we just have a little bit of levity in there? Because a lot of heavy topics there, but just as again, we have the setup with the two nerdier kids walking through that one hallway scene, talking about the cock ring.
Yes,
what's a cock ring?
I love.
Is it a ring with a cock on it? But he says he wears it.
Yes. And the best thing is when it comes back around, when Nora's kind of is talking to him, is like, do you even own a cock ring? And Mark is like, I don't know what a cock ring is.
I read it. I read about it in a magazine. He's like, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out. We're gonna talk about that scene later because that scene goes from 0 to 100 and then 100 to 0.
Yes.
Like real quick. But what's also great about that too is those two characters were actually utilized, just as an aside, as an influence on a couple of the characters in Not Another Teen Movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This was one of those lesser known films that's actually credited as an influence to Not Another Teen Movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen none other. We covered it on the show.
Yeah.
Like what, 4 months ago or something?
Yeah.
We didn't even discuss Bump Up the Volume. All right.
Nope.
Do you have like a specific scene that they were trying to mimic, or?
No, it's just the friendship between those two nerdy kids. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do have to say this because bring that picture back up because I have to make this joke because I had to write this joke. She caught him red note handed.
Wait. You love it. You fucking love it. Loki, he hates the soundboard. That's why I don't use it much. I used to open with crowds cheering, but he hates that. So I'm gonna give.
You don't need that. You don't need all that.
I know. I love the bells and whistles just on the right time. I've got another one. If I fool around, My Feelings is gonna tell a joke, and I'm gonna press another button here, and it's gonna be wild.
I don't want to fuck around and find out today.
It's not that kind of a week. That's no problem. I want to jump forward. a little bit. After the talk with so there's a full reveal. Suicide now things are kind of hard and heavy on Mark. That's where his parents kind of telling him about, we heard about this crazy guy. Are you listening to that crazy DJ guy? And he's like, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you people. And he just storms out. And the mother's like, there, you've pushed him back again. And he went downstairs in his basement. And I was like, oh man, it's like literally she's calling him a basement dwelling incel. Like, oof. And
to be fair, you can't call a kid who's 17 or 18 an incel yet.
Yeah, I know.
No.
I know.
Not in that terminology, given what its original terminology, yes, because any 17 or 18-year-old boy, a lot of them are incels in its correct vernacular, not into the social vernacular.
I want to touch another point here, and this is the point where you got the established media coming into this whole thing. And like I said, it's very reminiscent of what's happening today, where you get this crazy internet guy or guys or whatever, and the media is there to just write this scathing article or just make these crazy reports in the form of Mr. Shepard.
But do you know what this reminded me so much of, Meph?
What?
Columbine and how they blamed KMFDM and Marilyn Manson.
Yes, I had it written down right there.
And what was so funny is the fact that the two Columbine shooters didn't even listen to Marilyn Manson. You know why? They thought Marilyn Manson was a sellout.
You're right too.
Yeah. So
it's so weird because you can take elements from what this movie has to offer and you just update that
Paul,
to,
that's true as well. Yeah,
to today, and it fits because it always comes around and goes around where there's something going on, there's a parent's uproar, the police comes into the play, the media comes into the play, and then the feds come into play.
And the big thing is everyone's looking for a scapegoat. It doesn't matter what situation is. That the horrible tragedy occurs, and they try to look for something to pin the blame on.
Yeah, blame.
The
It's
cycle
always
will
the
just
blame
repeat
game.
itself over and over and over again. And again, now, Meph, to your point, as you were saying, now we're finding that in the age of internet stars and pseudo celebrity.
I mean, look at what happened with PewDiePie, right?
Mhm.
PewDiePie had it's literally did the adpocalypse because of the media got involved, because it was a stupid joke that he did with the whole anti-Semitism thing. And trust me, I've seen anti-Semitic things. It was a good joke. It was just not to the taste of Google back then. And remember, he lost a Disney contract over that and activated something that was super crazy on YouTube, which was the adpocalypse, where everybody pulled out, fucking Coke and Mitsubishi and whatever it was back then, pulled out, has a cascading effect, and that's what happened. And it started with an article that was on, I don't know, Variety or New York Post or New York Times, somewhere, and it just blew up. And I said the cops, and there's a short little scene while the broadcast is still up, a talk between a white cop and a black cop. But I love what the black cop said. It's like, dude, haven't you been a teenager before? It's just teen angst, dude. He didn't say that, but he was talking about, this is just teen angst. This is just what they do in that age. So I understand this. And the other cop actually does understand it too, but he's like, I got a job to do. I got a job to do. And I know, Oakley, I'll pull it up. The P.O. box, the cops can't open your P.O. box because it's a federal thing. But the joke, the Chuck You Farley, it's fuck you, Charlie. It's from Vietnam.
Yep.
The fact that Mark knows that is just, he's well read. Let's just say that. It just shows us how well read Mark is, or how he's in tune with the former generation's way of joking, I should say.
And you do have to give credit to the character of Mark. He is, well, his intentions are good overall, but also just how Moyle wrote him to be clever enough to get away with this for so long.
Yes, because he's electronically smart, so he knows how to do his tech stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he is also, like I said, it's not about being smart, as being sort of a creative kind of a person, where he reads, gets inspired, and comes up with his own kind of amalgamation of what he reads. He wants to be that Lenny Bruce's voice, which is subversive, edgy, telling jokes, inappropriate jokes, dirty jokes, and doing some crazy shit that you wouldn't be able to because the FCC would have shut you down. Sort of like Stern, the DJ Stern.
Just Howard Stern?
Howard Stern.
Yeah.
When he started, not now.
Oh, well, how he was when it was NBC, I believe, who bought out him, and that's his real big push.
Yeah, he started in Washington, I think, or Detroit.
NBC.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he got so gigantically popular where he could just keep pushing the buttons because they didn't want to get rid of him, even though the FCC just went up fine after fine after fine. Side note: Private Parts. The book is worse than the film. And that's rare.
The one thing is, like, first of all, the FCC won't let me be, or be me.
So let me see.
So
yes,
let me see.
Eminem.
It's literally, that's Eminem, but it literally captures this kind of a moment, right? And also the Stern moment, and the Stern moment, the Private Parts movie, one of the greatest lines, and it is indicative for anybody, especially online, who's a little bit, puts himself out there. He's being true to himself, but not trying to be maybe push buttons or being super annoyingly edgy. It's the so-and-so percent is listening because I want to hear what he says next. That's the listeners.
Yes. Yeah.
And the detractors, they're listening for more time and for the same reason.
Yep.
So the average listener is listening for, I don't know, 3 hours, but the detractor listens for 5 hours because I just want to see what he's going to say next. And that means you're doing something right to be, I don't know, authentic, special. Take your pick. I wanted to bring up one thing that is kind of special because you don't see this anymore, because this entire exchange where he buys tapes of old broadcasts or music or whatever you want to call it.
They're bootlegs.
This is today. You can switch this into the torrents, or if you want to call it Napster or whatever, LimeWire, or whatever it used to be, whatever tech or pirate tech that you have right now. This is exactly it. The exchange of bootleg things because it's interesting or it's fun or it's something. And when it comes to, like, when I equated it to live streamers, you don't get to see that as much because people don't actually record it. It's just there on YouTube or on Twitch or on Rumble or on whatever streaming service you're using. It's just there and you can go back to it. So you don't have that exchange. But back then, if you didn't hear it, you lost it, right? It was live, and if you didn't hear it, you lost. So people just kept recording that specific DJ or whatever and just handed it out to their friends. Look at what he said last night. Oh shit, I missed it. Let me listen to it.
Yeah, there was no way to like pull it up. There was no internet to pull it up on. There was no way to go back and watch something after it was done. There was no, hey, I want to sign up to your thing so that I can listen to the past shows. If you missed it, you missed it. You missed that day. And if you were lucky, if you caught it again on a rerun.
Yep. And of course,
well, see, this also is really so funny, is because this film in itself is indicative of its time, because in so many ways this, combined with television at the time and media as you consumed it then compared to now, are they're so miles apart in difference.
Yeah, vastly different.
Because now, again, we're gluttons for media now. We have everything we want on demand, and if we can't find it there, we can find somewhere else. Again, may have to hoist in the sails, me hearty, but you can find it.
Yep. And to me, actually, what is more popular is actually shows like this, which is just talking about your passion. Those things you can equate to just like blank the screen and you're just listening to it, sort of like a radio show where you get with a little bit of change because it is so immediate. You have the chat running, you can interact, you can see what people say. Yes, guys, I can see what you say. But it's sort of like that. Instead of a call-in show, you got the chat running and you can see what people say. You can react, and it's so immediate. So the attachment between you and sort of like the DJ or the radio DJ is much, much, much better. And using either donations or super chats, it's like writing a small little letter that you know is going to get on the show because you paid to get it read on the show. It's less immediate, but yeah, you write it, he reads it, and the DJ interacts with it. There's a lot of parallels between what what Harry Hardon did and a streamer does today, or at least that kind of a streamer. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean, I don't know, Tim the Tap Man or Dr. Disrespect, but in a way, yes. In a way, yes.
What are you going to do if someone comes on in your chat and starts talking about offing themselves?
Yeah.
What do you make a phone call? Do you report it? Do you report them? Do you kick them out of your chat? Do you talk to them? Do you invite them on the show? What do you do? And do you feel even qualified to do that? That's a huge question. Do you feel qualified to be talking to this person about this? It's crazy.
To be absolutely fair, having thought about it a lot, it's sort of like, oh, I know what I'm going to say. You don't really know what you're going to say. What you do is fall on to your experience. If you have an experience with talking or talking down people, it's a lot of reassuring, and it's a lot of, taking the time to address that person. But again, I can say it now, when the chance comes in, you don't really know what you're going to say. Maybe you're in the middle of a heated moment and your head is just somewhere else. You might say the wrong thing and you really don't know. And suddenly that small little bit can be a detriment to your channel, your stream, your community, because you said the wrong thing and you didn't mean it and you didn't really think about it because it was the heat of the moment. The problem is, if you're not in the heat of the moment, it's not authentic and it's not unique and it's not what makes you be you. And today, what I've seen, if you're not you, people don't gravitate to that. I can talk here and just spew out some facts and all that stuff, but me and my Swiss cheese brain, I half remember the name of the people. I don't even know the name of the principal right now off the top of my head. And the part where you're stuck, it's all about thank you feelings. The stuff where you're trying to get to a thing and you don't get to a thing, it's sort of problematic maybe for you, but it's not problematic for the people who gravitate to your specific style. All of that diatribe aside, where Mark is going for is, no, I'm not qualified to answer that question. Talking to the guy, the gay dude, or talking to Malcolm Kaiser, he doesn't actually know what to say. All he knows is, I want to talk to that person. I want to interact with that person who wrote me a letter, or I called him so we can interact. That kind of a thing is something that you can switch technologies and get to that same little place. You don't, if you're running a live stream and you have that sort of a chat coming in, whether it's a super chat or just a chat, you're the one who makes the determination on that spot whether the guy is living next door to me. Maybe he's in a different state. Maybe he's in a different country. Maybe it's, I don't know, 8 a.m. for you, and it is 12 at night because he's writing to you from Korea because he's tired, bored out of life, and suddenly he's like, oh, I want to kill myself. I'll just write it down in the chat. It's just that quick. And of course,
and also,
go ahead.
To be fair, too, the sentiment could be real or falsified, because again, depending on, again, what kind of outlet we're discussing, some of the larger streamers, they could just be saying that to get attention.
That's true.
Or in the case with Malcolm, it was a true case, but you can't differentiate between the two. And with someone who is, again, one of these larger streamers, say like if it was on, say, XQC, just for sake of argument, something that huge, if that were to be brought up, probably that person would just get instantly banned from chat. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
But if they weren't, and if you were to read it, how could he differentiate if that was something true or if it was someone just trying to get his attention for a minute for them to have their moment in the spotlight on their chat? Because we talk about parasocial relationships and how they become way too pervasive now.
Yeah.
And pernicious, really. They're
is
getting. Sorry,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead, please. Finish what you're saying.
No, I was saying that they're becoming they're becoming again more and more often and more increasingly in some instances violent. Because
Yeah, stalking situations, that sort of thing.
in so many ways, again, this is again after. I think this is also really due to the fact of all of Corona and everything, and how we all got placed inside our own little boxes, and our only way that we had social outlets were these people that we've never met before. So,
yeah. Go ahead, Loki.
Yeah. Okay.
Best advice here, guys. Make sure your mods have the numbers for calling help. Basically, your suicide hotline, whatever it is, and you need to talk to, and just say you need to talk to somebody. I'm probably not the person you need to talk to, but you need to talk to somebody. So please call this number. That's what it's there for. Talk to somebody. Don't make any rash decisions, and leave it at that. Always take it seriously. Before I did this, I did drug counseling. I've got a master's in psychology. I did drug counseling for 6 years before I got onto this crazy YouTube cyclone of drama and craziness. I've had, you talked about like psycho stalking. I've got a woman who thinks my name's Kurt. She has made YouTube videos about Kurt, talking to Kurt at night, talking about me like I'm Kurt, like she talks to the show. She literally talks to me while I'm doing one of the shows. It's the craziest thing. That's why we came up with the hashtag blame Kurt thing. But it's one of those weird things you've got to deal with, and you've got to deal with it. There's going to be people that don't like you. There's going to be people that like you. There's going to be people that blame you for things. There's going to be people that come to you for their problems. Maybe they think, Mephistoe, you've got it all together, buddy. How do you do it? You just got everything together and your life's so tip-top and my life's so shit and it's horrible and it's terrible. But you got everything figured out. Tell me your secret. And they generally really want to know how you got your crap together. And you might not. You might not at all. There's a guy I've been talking to for 5 years now that's like, you got it all worked out, buddy. I'm like, dude, I was almost paralyzed in a motorcycle accident. I lost my job. I lost my house. I lost almost everything. I'm the last SOB that's got it all figured out and put together. But you act like you do all the time. Well, that's part of it. That's like, that's what Harry's doing.
Yeah.
Harry's got it all worked out and got it all figured out. And then he goes to school and he doesn't say shit to anybody.
And
so
that's
just one of those things you gotta kind of roll with if you're gonna do this.
I was gonna say, and you see it in the sort of the glint of the eyes, kind of starting to mash together in these mass kind of listenings where they're all like literally the chat room was live with their cars listening around, and they were just listening to what he says, and in the middle you get these songs. Because it's still a sort of a radio, and they're listening to these songs that they've never heard before. That because the director Allan Moyle handpicked every single song in the soundtrack, and even got credited by the producer, and the producer said, "I don't know where he came up with these songs, but they just fit." I think Samantha Mathis said the same thing. It's like I didn't know where she was. I think 19 at the time. Feelings? I don't remember. I had it written down. She was 19 at the time. She was fresh out of, coming back from Europe. She's fresh out of nothing. She didn't do any other big projects. And she's going into this thing and she's listening to these songs. It's like, where have you brought this? But it kind of fits with every situation because he either was tapped into some sort of subversive alternative kind of vibe to it, and it just worked for every single person there playing a teenager because they could relate to it and were able to get their juices going. That crowd coming in and that sort of a camaraderie between those people, you can actually equate that and pass it to today, where you've got the chat. We've got not only parasocial relationships with the people, that the person who is broadcasting, you also got some sort of a parasocial relationship with the people in chat, where whether it's a mod or you see someone's name popping up again and again, it's that sort of the same thing of sort of connection with a, I don't know, the same kind of soul. You know, there's a kindred spirit there that is waiting for you in the chat, that you're just waiting for that broadcast, not only for the guy who's talking to me, but also the person in chat saying hello to me, saying good morning, good evening, whatever it is, right? And it's not specifically for one place, because the internet is global. So you get people from Australia, from, I don't know, Korea, Thailand, Europe, maybe even parts of South Africa. I've seen people from South Africa being on different shows, and sometimes it blows my mind, even though I'm fully aware that it's happening, that people just listening from all around the world, and you might say something that is, I don't know, within your cultural base, but there's a sort of a common cultural base where the movies are some sort of a baseline that you can go through, TV shows, other internet broadcasts, whatever. And it just builds up that sort of a rapport from there. And again, bringing it back to this movie, the sort of reaction that we see is, we talked about it, this whole parent meeting thing that is going on, that to me, this is sort of expected, because this is the same parents that were like, oh, ban fucking Twisted Sister or Judas Priest. This was mid 80s, the Tipper Gore thing, that whole thing. I would expect that from a suburban.
Yes.
It's not just white, but it's a suburban audience in the middle of nowhere, Arizona, but it could be middle of nowhere, California, middle of nowhere, Kentucky, middle of nowhere outside of Chicago, or suburbia, New Jersey or New York. It's the same kind of deal.
Well, because this is so funny too, because to your point there, it was these kinds of people that brought forth everything that brought up the parental advisory warnings on albums in the States. Because Loki, I know you remember this. We're old as hell. So before, what I think it was 1990, was it just 1990 before the new rules came in?
I believe so.
91, I think.
Because I know that the big issue was Two Live Crew. That was
Yes.
was the big
Two Live Crew.
catalyst. And it was I love the fact that Dee Snider of everyone went in Twisted Sister makeup to defend
Yes.
Two Live Crew.
Into Congress with Twisted Sister makeup, and I've seen the interview, and he talks about
his
how
argument is well articulated, and
yes,
he really goes against the fact that, like, this is inherently infringing upon free speech in its own.
I remember the bands were having a fit because the production companies were editing their music. So they'd mute something out, and you'd get it on a tape, and it wouldn't be the actual song, because they'd go in and clip out bits of dialogue. They'd remove that from the songs, and you couldn't hear it. You'd be like, what the hell? Oh, well, that's the edited version. That's like the radio version.
Radio edit.
Why am I buying a tape if I'm getting a radio version? My mom came home one day with like a Megadeth tape, and I blew my mind. I'm like, my mom bought me a Megadeth tape, and she got it at a Navy PX. She got it at a Navy store in a Navy base, and it didn't have any. It didn't have like radio version on it or anything. Put it in, start listening to it, and they've cut out all the bad words automatically. There was no warning on it. There was no nothing. You couldn't get a lot of that stuff back then.
When I was 14 or on the cusp 13, 14, my mom had a business for selling CDs. It was mostly classical things, but so they had the classical rack to bringing all the, like, the straight people. And then she had a full rack of rock, alternative, and crazy shit. I called it back then. But she went out. It was sort of a booth business. So you got into like different not parks, but different venues that had booths going on, and I got to listen to all variety of shit. So from the crazy, whatever, Megadeth, all that stuff, to super classical music. And yes, John Denver. Thank you, Paul Harley. Yes, John Denver too. And I just gravitated to the sort of alternative and rock and metal stuff because, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, teen angst. But she also had a tiny bit of rap music, and that was just at the time it was just gangster rap. The first Shaq Diesel CD I've seen, she sold. I've listened to the whole thing. I don't know what the fuss is all about. I just love Shaq. That's all I'm saying. But I've listened to it. It's a stupid fucking CD. It's a stupid fucking album, but it fucking rocks.
We're not going to do a Kazam retrospective. I'm sorry.
We're not doing it. Nor do we do the original Man of Steel or Iron Man or whatever it was.
No, it was just Steel.
Steel Man. Yeah.
Steel. No, not Steel Man. Just Steel.
Oh, it's Steel?
And they took the S off of his chest. And yeah, that's the stupidest movie. And it had the stupidest marketing. And I don't know what happened. I want to take a sledgehammer to DC for doing that. They did it wrong.
It was bad. It was really bad.
So,
sorry, Oakley. No, you're correct. He was just so hungover, he looked like he had makeup, I
guess. Yeah. But I've seen that interview, and it's so weird because you see Dee Snider today. Where's that Twister sister? I want that guy.
Well, those guys are all gone. They all sold out.
Yeah. I mean, we all really want the old Alice Cooper back too, but that's never going to happen.
That's right. And they all sold out. Sold out. They all owe somebody something. It's not everybody knows that the dice are loaded anymore. It's that everybody knows everybody sold out. Yep. That's the version of that for 2023. Is we all know they all sold out. All these icons, all these people who used to love to listen to, all these people that stood up and say, "Hey, freedom of speech, freedom of art, freedom of expression, freedom of the press," they're all gone. All those people are gone. So we're right back where we were when this shit was going on, is outrage and faux pas and all this happy horse shit that we have to deal with today. Instead of people standing up and saying, "Hey, where's my right to free speech? Where's my right?" We're just giving it away now.
That's why I was so pumped to cover this movie, because first of all, I'm not from the States, so I don't have First Amendment protection.
Shit, we don't anymore. Don't worry about it.
I mean, I'm from the outside looking in, trying to say, you have that, and you're squandering it away. It seems like to me you guys have squandered it away. I've seen it. I hate watching Twitter for it, but some guy on Twitter, and it popped up on my feed, and it was somebody I don't follow and I don't know, put up a fucking it's not even a meme. It's like the First Amendment or free speech is to see something you don't like, see something you don't agree with, and enjoy the fact that it's there for you to consume or not consume, and it's so simple. Yes, you don't have to agree with everybody's talk. No, it could be not just offensive. It could be outright outrageously offensive. Like I said edgy, but it could be, you can switch that word with offensive, super offensive, incredibly offensive, outright being anti-Semitic or on the cusp of being anti-Semitic, using the N-word with the hard R, using the bundle of sticks word, using everything and not mean it, but use it in a certain way where I understand it's a joke, you understand it's a joke, I can disagree with you, and I just can, when I can't stand hearing it, I'm just gonna leave because it's too much for me or I don't like it. I just, there's a dial on the radio. You can switch that dial. There's a click, there's a button on your mouse, and you can click away that stream or click away whatever you're listening to and listen to somebody else, maybe someone you agree with or disagree with. Doesn't really matter. It's the fact that you have that choice. You have that variety. And when that free speech is being curtailed, it damages everybody, because today it's somebody that says something you don't like. Tomorrow it's going to be you saying something that somebody else doesn't like.
Yeah.
That's right. And don't forget religion either. I don't get into the religion that much, but that religion is covered under that First Amendment, that you are free to believe whatever you want to believe and talk about, whatever religion you want to talk about, and go whatever to a mosque or to a church or to whatever, to a Sunday backyard picnic down in the South. Woo, we're going to get together and we're going to talk about God this Sunday. However you want to break it down, that's getting curtailed too. And if they want to if people want to sell that for, well, the government can take care of us, ladies and gentlemen, that's their choice. I know I don't want to live in a place where you just sell out. Let's just live and be a sellout, because that's the way it's going to be.
And I talked about this with All My Feelings kind of backstage a long, long time ago, is what I'm afraid of is the fact that it's the pendulum swinging, right? I hate it swinging one way. You want to call it left, right, whatever, doesn't matter. It swings one way. If it swings too far, there's a backlash to that swing. It's going to come back. And I don't think the people that are generally in the middle, that some of us go a little bit that way, some of us go a little bit the other way, we're generally in that center-ish. When it swings back, we're not going to like that swing back. We're going to like it for a while. And then it's going to go all the way into a different kind of extreme that we won't necessarily like. But it's too hot and heavy. It's time to bring some levity to the show. It's time for our second game of the night. My favorite, you guys' favorite. It's called
Round 1, Fight.
I cucked myself. It's called
Screen Fighter.
Screen Fighter is where we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good, both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Sunday evening, Friday, Saturday, whatever you want to call it. It's an evening. We got two movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? And we are a go. Chat participation is most welcome. Easy Rider or a Clockwork Orange? Loki, you go right ahead.
Easy Rider. That's easy. 1969. We'll go with Easy Rider.
All right. Feelings?
Wow, this is actually a difficult choice because it depends on what mood I'm in. Because both of them are fantastic, but I'm going to have to go with the Clockwork Orange overall. You know how much I love Kubrick.
Is it recency bias? Because I haven't watched Easy Rider in a while?
No, I've actually seen Easy Rider in the last month and a half. So
really?
If anything, Easy Rider would have recency bias.
Okay. So Clockwork Orange. I'm going to go with a Clockwork Orange. Recency bias, mainly. But I have seen Easy Rider last year. And it's
fantastic
really, really, really good. The acting's good. Dennis Hopper in that movie just does it for me.
That's why it got
you would think Jack Nicholson would do it for me, but no, Dennis Hopper is the guy that does it for me in this movie. But chat says Clockwork Orange, and DK, do yourself a favor, watch both.
Yes, yeah, go see both, buddy.
American Animals or Valkyrie? I haven't seen American Animals, so we're going to switch that. Primal Fear or Valkyrie? Loki?
I'll go with Primal Fear. Edward Norton is an absolute animal in that, and Richard Gere doesn't. I think this was right around the time the hamster story started with Richard Gere, but he
Yes, it
doesn't
was. Yes, it was.
he doesn't ever let the cat out of the bag that he he's a part of all this. So it's like you would expect that the actor, and I'm not talking about his character, but the actor at some point would kind of give away a little bit. He knows what's going to happen. But he plays it absolutely beautiful. That he has no idea that this is all some fake thing going on. So yeah, Primal Fear.
Feelings?
I'm also going to have to go with Primal Fear just because they really oversold the impact of Valkyrie in the film. They made it seem as though this thing was solid. No.
Yeah, having my only issue with Valkyrie is the fact that I've seen the documentary way before they made this movie, so I knew what was going on the whole time. And Tom Cruise is the bad choice for that movie. It's just a bad cast for that movie. It's not a bad movie. It's just not good. Primal
Do you know
Fear.
actually? Oh god, who would have been so much better in that role too? They could have gotten him.
Mhm.
Christoph Waltz.
I it wasn't as well known as it was. I don't think so. I think
he hadn't even had his first major breakout, which was in Inglourious Bastards yet.
which was the same year, I think.
No, it's 2009.
2009. Okay.
Yeah. So,
All right. Third pair: Tremors or Girl Interrupted.
Loki.
Oh, that's so easy. Just because of Reba McEntire, you didn't even get penetration even with the elephant gun.
Good.
It's gonna be Tremors. It's gonna be Tremors.
Tremors for me too.
Of course,
Feelings
it has to be Tremors. I mean, it's one of it. Oh, it's baby Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. Tron Legacy or The Breakup.
The Grid. Do 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 do. Dubstep. Tron Legacy. That was easy.
Well, I think the soundtrack of Tron Legacy is great because it's all by Daft Punk.
Daft Punk. Did I say dubstep? Daft Punk.
Yeah.
My bad.
I will always tell you this, Meth. I absolutely adore The Breakup because the ending of that film subverts every single expectation you go in walking when you first watch that movie.
In a good way.
Like in the best way possible. Yeah, spoiler alert, they don't end up back together.
Yeah, they break up. It says so in the title.
They have a nice little scene after after everything. They have that talk, but yeah, no.
No, there's that little sigh where they look back over each other's shoulders, like, well, maybe there might be something there, but no. At the end of it, no, it's over.
To be absolutely fair, I didn't like Tron Legacy. I liked the original Tron. I don't like Tron Legacy. I don't like what they did with that movie. I couldn't get attached to it. However, because we have a lively crowd, both me and Feelings are outvoted, and it's Tron. I do prefer The Breakup, even though it's a sucky movie because you get rid of it, you get over it, and it's like you've left with such a sucky mood. The Ref or Good Night and Good Luck.
The Ref. Dennis Leary just kicks ass in that movie. And you know what? Say what you want about Spacey. Spacey was absolutely freaking hilarious in this movie. He's like, you bang the delivery boy too. Him is that the dialogue with him and his wife, and Leary having to be like the ref and being like, shut up. I don't want to hear about any of this. Why am I hearing about this? Oh,
yeah.
Brilliant.
Feelings?
I think Dennis Leary is vastly underrated in a lot of his films. What was that? I can't remember the other film that he had. It was with him and Elizabeth Hurley.
Which one did it do with Elizabeth Hurley?
Oh, it was. I can't remember the name of it. It's about him trying to go back and find this woman who wrote him a love letter, and it turns out it's Elizabeth Hurley all along.
Okay, never mind then.
it's a whole big setup about how he was a playboy in college and stuff. And then he also did a great film with Luis Guzman as a detective in the late 90s, early 2000s also. But no, Dennis Leary is actually good in most of his roles. The only bad one he's really known for is, Demolition Man. But a lot of people had bad roles in Demolition Man, to be fair.
Hey,
Now all restaurants
don't knock Demolition Man. Never, ever.
That being said, though, I would still rather watch Good Night, Good Luck. I love that movie.
I knew you would. To me, it's going to be The Ref, because this was not Dennis Leary. It was Dennis Leary, the character Dennis Leary from his comedy act.
Oh, yes.
Still infused that to a lot of 90s.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the asshole in most of the 90s movies he was in.
Thank you, Paul.
Just worked for me. That's the one?
Yes. Thank you, Paul. Yeah.
All right, cool. The Ref. We're going to do one more. Flub or Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now. That was easy.
Next one. Blades of Glory. Perfect. Blades of Glory or Bean the movie.
Note the fact there is no tagline who said Blades of Glory was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I'm using air quotes, but you can't see my fingers.
I'm gonna have to go with the Will Ferrell.
Really?
Will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because it was so ridiculous?
Just because, dude, who goes? You know what? Who goes to see a Will Ferrell movie to see anything serious? You don't.
Yeah.
And the fact that they take this seriously, it's like ice skating, this is the most serious thing in the world. Everything depends on one of them winning this ice rink match, or it's like the whole world will end if they don't. So just the over the top bullshit in it. Yeah, I'll go with Blades of Glory.
All right. Feelings?
I hate Mr. Bean. Just full stop.
No problem.
So I would rather watch Blades of Glory, but what I find funny too is the love interest that was Jenna. I can't remember her last name. She played Pam in The Office. They thought that she was going to be a new kind of like comedy starlet, right? Yeah. No.
Too bad. I can't bring myself to watch a Will Ferrell movie. They're so few and far between. Like old school, I love Talladega Nights.
Streaking.
Awesome.
We're going streaking.
Yeah, we're going. This is like Blades of Glory. Blades of Glory to me is like, we're going streaking, but on ice. It's like, no.
Well, no, it's like at a certain point he became just a parody of himself, and then he started doing dramatic roles. That really started with Stranger Than Fiction, which, by the way, was a good movie.
Yeah, but it's sort of like to me with him, it's sort of a bust because I'm on the mind where I don't like Elf, but I like Anchorman. So, what? Why don't you like Elf? Because Will Ferrell is annoying in that movie, and I don't like it. I'm gonna go with Bean because I just don't like Blades of Glory. Don't get me wrong, Bean is just an awful movie and an awful representation of the Bean character. Because if you watch the Brit comedy special with Bean, it's phenomenal. It's just so much better. It just is.
Well, even on his shows on the BBC, he was more Charlie Chaplin-esque, and in the film that
Yes.
took away that entire motif.
He was Chaplin. He was Buster Keaton. He was just a silent character in a non-silent movie. Oh, not movie, but in a non-silent environment.
Yes,
Just,
but Paul is correct. They were both terrible to begin with.
yeah, they were both terrible.
Yes,
Nobody really won in that whole.
Yeah,
story.
like I said, if it's a Friday evening, Saturday evening, just pop up and film. Which one? I don't know. Maybe I would have gone.
Gun to your head. Watch a movie.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I would have gone for Blades of Glory. Who knows? All right. Let's finish up because feelings. You wanted to talk about this scene that went from 0 to 11, where Mark comes back from that sort of PTA or parents kind of meeting. He is determined to like, okay, I'm gonna slash and burn. I'm gonna just get rid of this character. I'm done. I can't go on with this anymore. Nora comes in to talk to him and to just explain to him how much he means to everybody else and how much he needs to go on, and his and they have that scene where he's just, I can talk, I just can't talk to you.
Yes.
Kind of explained to us the difference between Mark and Harry. What you wanted to say, feelings?
Well, the again, the difference between the two, and then him going on the broadcast and then stating what he had to say specifically about her and about what the broadcast meant to not only him but everyone around him was really pertinent there. And then we have the catch up in between where the parents are trying to interject and she saves him at the end. And this is not the only time where again, this is where he is finally able to open up. So again, where Loki, they have the merging of the personalities finally.
Yes.
Here where he is finally confident enough to interact with her. Yes. Well, it also the parents say, "Well, it's good. It's a good thing, son." For a moment there, we were starting to think that you were the radio host. It's like,
because the thing is, the parents, they're listening and they're hearing their son's voice, even though he does have that voice changer.
It's
But
the correct term is a modulator. Why they said that they use a harmonizer? No.
Yeah, they said harmonizer. It doesn't.
The girls.
It really doesn't matter.
The girl's important too, because if you grew up in the 90s and you got caught in a room with a girl by your father, by your parents, there was a sigh of relief. There was this big, deep sigh of relief of, okay, he's normal. He's got a girlfriend. Let's just be happy that he's found a girlfriend and that he's kind of normal. He's getting out there. He's meeting people. He's not stuck in his room all day. Obviously, nice to meet you.
And you can tell that the dad is shocked and the mom is pleased.
Yeah.
But
the mom was shocked. The dad was more pleased than anything else. It was like, you little rascal, you.
Yeah,
because I've been here before. I've been here. I was here 20 years ago, son. Way to go. Good. Let's have a beer later tonight. Once everybody's in bed, we'll have a beer. We'll meet up in the kitchen at midnight and have a beer together.
And what I find so interesting too is the fact that he has it clearly playing back through his speakers. So if they had kept listening to the podcast, they would have broadcast.
Yeah,
they would have heard the reverberation of his own voice from downstairs on their own stereo, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, this doesn't. It couldn't be."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and of course, once they leave, sort of like Nora leaves as well, so he can be more Harry and less Mark, even though they're kind of already gelled together.
Yeah.
And just go off because he has those documents and he was in that PTA meeting and he's calling Mr. Deaver, and Deaver's like, "Oh, we've got you. The FCC's coming, or the cops are coming."
It's the
It's the cops.
Yeah.
And of course, he's like, "Oh," it's like, they caught me. And the entire crowd was like, "No, get out of there, get out of there." And he goes outside to see what's happening. And it's Nora just outside waiting for him. And he says, "Well, my neighbors are going to get fucked, but it is what it is, so be it." And he even says it to, it's like, "Okay, so be it. Fuck it. I'm just going to give up." And he already was leaning on that contingency plan. But they have that moment outside
which again, this is one of the things that could have saved the film in so many ways. They could have cut a little bit, several of the F-bombs and then the topless scene, and it could have been put down to a PG-13 rating.
Yeah, I was gonna say the moment where he is naked in terms of I have nothing to hide from you anymore, and she gets naked because she doesn't have anything to hide from him anymore, but it's also like horny teenagers. By the way,
Yeah.
Nora is more horny than Mark for a fucking fact.
Yes, and that's where it's so weird. Where it goes 0 to 100, and then 100 to fucking nothing.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. But that's
And
what,
also, can we say, like, when they kiss, it's fucking awkward on several different occasions.
in the school.
The two occasions that it happens, it's so weird. Where it's like, why are you taking they're eating up screen time here. They are chewing up scenery by just like, 45 seconds later. Meh.
Yes. Yes. It's like the next day. Right. Right. We're coming close to about 2 hours, and Mr. Feelings has a hard out.
Yeah.
I want to touch upon the last bit of the movie, otherwise we won't get to it, is where Mark is like, okay, fuck it. It's after Nora gets rejected out of school, where it seems like there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. The FCC is already there. The fucking FCC guy who is there just for show. He's not managing anything. He doesn't know anything. He's being caught with his pants down regardless. And he comes to Nora.
As an aside, can we just say, like, all of the kids there would have been in a lot of shit, defacing federal property, destroying federal property. And whenever have you ever been somewhere where someone actually burns an effigy of someone that the outcome has been positive?
Yeah, that's right. The one thing is on the chase, the kind of the voice changer gets sort of lets loose and
the
destroyed. Or whatever.
harmonizer.
The
You can't see my
harmonizer,
air
of
quotes,
course.
but-
But they're on a hill looking out, and finally Mark actually sees his audience, right? He can see this entire media circus is around it and everything. And he says, I want you to, it's like, I started this because I was dejected and bored, and I did this for fun. I didn't expect it to go this far. And this is so crazy because I've heard other people, other live stream, have that sort of same talk of, okay, I've been demonetized or I've been whatever, and just I started this and I didn't expect it to be this huge. And it is what it is. And when they go downstairs and when they're just about to nab him, he says, just do it yourself. Be yourself. Open up a station, open up a radio, be true, say what you feel, say what you want. They can't stop all of us. They can't jam the entire frequency. And of course, when they pull him into the van, it's like, talk hard, and everybody gets exactly what he meant. And of course, once that goes away, just before the credits, you hear the old,
Radio stations.
the radio station
popping up everywhere.
yeah, it popping up everywhere because it's not the guy, it's the idea. They can arrest the guy, they can put him in jail, they can put her in jail. It doesn't matter, as long as he inspires the idea of being free and talking I hate that, but truth to power. It's that sort of a thing that was like, it's a genuine.
Are you trying to say Harry was speaking his truth?
I hate that.
Shit.
I hate that.
I know that's why
I hate that it's being used for nefarious things, but it's true. It's not speaking the truth. It's speaking your peace of mind, letting other people know it, and then they judge it for you. But it's all about what, like we said, part of that free speech. And that's about it. It's just because you have to go, my feelings. But if you really need to go and you can't stay for 5 minutes,
I can stay for 5.
Okay.
It's fine.
So, like I said, kind of a rush ending. We don't like it, but in terms of summarizing the entire movie, for me, it was a big inspiration to do what I do right now. Not doing YouTube, but going live and just talking and doing what I'm passionate for. It's like Oakley said, it's sort of a perfect ending because A, it's an ending to Mark's story, but B, it's not the ending of the idea behind Happy Harry Hard-On. And it just makes me feel like there is hope. There is hope. It's not a black pill moment. It's very much a white pill moment. Feelings?
I was actually saying, I think it's actually the opposite there. It's the end of the Harry story, but Mark's story still goes on. So Harry is gone. Harry as the Happy Harry Hard-On, done and dusted. But Mark will still live on as a character. The legacy of what Harry meant will still live on. Even though he's gone, his legacy and what he meant and his message obviously reached out across the nation, because there was one person was in Springfield, Missouri, and
Yeah,
there were several
all
other
over
call
the place.
signs all over the nation.
Yeah.
But again, it was showing the fact that it doesn't matter the fact that he was taken down. You can't stop freedom, the message of what Harry meant from getting out.
Loki?
You may own the airwaves, but you don't own the words that come out of people's mouths. And that's what the FCC, pretty much, I mean, what you said was absolutely perfect, Mephisto. You talked about, the thing with YouTube, and you might piss off the wrong person on YouTube, and you might get demonetized. And why did you get demonetized? Oh, well, it's all their fault, and they're trying to quiet me. Well, is that true, or did you break the rules? Did you do something that violated that terms of service to get you in trouble? Did Harry do something illegal? Yes, he did. Did he do it for all the right reasons? Sure, he did, but he still did something illegal, and he's still going to have to pay for it at the end of the day. And he's got to deal with his actions. Has this community around him completely gone off the deep end about a lot of this? Yes, they have. Should he have talked to some kid about committing suicide? No, he shouldn't have. But at the end of the day, that's all he really did that you could critique and say, you know what, you shouldn't have done that. You should have let somebody else handle it. But who was handling anything? There are kids crying for help. Nobody's handling that. There are kids with their hands out saying, hey, why am I getting pushed out? Nobody's handling that. No one's giving a shit about any of these kids. At least he's talking to them and interacting with them and telling them what the hell's really going on. So there's wrong all over the map, and the least wrong is what Harry's doing.
And we didn't
I love this movie.
Yeah, we didn't quite touch upon that whole sort of secondary subplot of the school doing really nefarious up to illegal things.
Illegal that they were getting fraud.
Illegal things where because of what Harry does, it actually brings light to everything, where his dad is the supervisor, and he's like, okay, you're doing illegal shit, you're fired. And the principal's like, no, you can't fire me. It's like, yes, I'm the supervisor, you're fired. As sort of giving us just a little bit of a sweet with the bitter of Harry or Mark being arrested, where you would be rooting for this underdog who's he's pirated, he's doing illegal shit, and he should technically, if you do illegal shit and you know it, you need to pay for it. But on the other side, it was like the principal is doing illegal shit and she needs to pay for it as well.
Right.
That's what I think Moyle wrote a great moral story at the very end of this, because there was no, like, yes, he is technically, Harry would be considered the Robin Hood-esque figure in this, but you have to remember, Robin Hood's a thief.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even again, get to the Batman analogy. We love Batman, but he's still physically assaulting people.
Yeah, he is vigilante. The Dark Knight. He is a vigilante, and that's why the cops are after him. If you read the comics, or if you haven't read the comics like me, but you've seen the animated series, you can tell there's moments in there where he's not welcomed. He's not welcome in Gotham at all. But he is there because he's doing the job that the police doesn't do. It is what it is. Anyway.
Before my feelings has to go, I just want to tell them, because I don't know if you have credit scene or whatever. You guys got a great show here, brother. So keep it up, keep at it, and keep it up, because you got something special here. And all I see is it growing as you guys move forward. So don't give up, don't surrender, no retreat, no giving up. Keep it up and keep talking hard, guys.
Stay. We've got a thing running for a bit. We'll say thank you for everybody for joining us. Thank you, Loki. We've got all your everywhere it needs to go and subscribe to Loki on YouTube, on Rumble, and wherever he is. Go follow him on Twitter. All the links are in the description down below. I didn't cover it. I didn't even put up my links. I usually start with my links, but I wanted to give as much as possible of time to before Feelings has to go. The chat has been amazing tonight. Thank you for watching. And two things. One, next week we're going to cover Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with Extra Zero supposed to be on. He's a semi YouTuber. Don't worry about it. He's more of a producer type, but he's got an opinion. Let's just say that, which is good. Always
we're gonna
good.
have a long chat.
And
about
Feelings loves this movie, and I don't. So it's gonna be fun, like always. And the second thing, and it's the most important thing, is that hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. Good night. You're still here? It's over.